People at the airport froze when the police dog suddenly lunged, leaping straight into a baby stroller. Passengers screamed. The woman panicked. Officers ran toward the scene, thinking the dog had lost control. The woman clutched the handle of the stroller, terrified. "Control your dog," she screamed. Her face turned pale. "I don't understand. I haven't done anything wrong," she insisted, her voice trembling, panic creeping in. But the dog didn't stop. She took an uneasy step back. "Please, make him stop," she pleaded, looking around desperately. But Rex didn't back down. He growled low, muscles tense, his gaze locked onto her like she was hiding something dangerous. And he refused to let anyone touch the stroller, teeth bared, body blocking it like a shield. Everyone thought the dog had made a mistake. They were wrong. Terribly wrong. Because the police dog was trying to warn them, people whispered. Was she carrying something illegal? Was she a threat? No one knew why the police dog reacted like this. No one understood what he sensed. What the dog did next shocked everyone and revealed a truth so unbelievable, it stunned the entire terminal. Stay with us, because this story will leave you speechless. Before we start, make sure to hit like and subscribe. And really, I'm curious, where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories travel. It was supposed to be a routine morning at Crescent International Airport, the kind of slow, predictable shift Officer Grant actually appreciated. Sunlight poured through the massive glass windows, reflecting across polished floors as travelers dragged suitcases toward their gates. Kids laughed, business people rushed, announcements echoed overhead. Everything felt normal. Almost too normal. Grant walked beside his canine partner, Rex, the department's most trusted German shepherd. The dog's ears flicked with every sound, nose twitching as he sampled the air. Grant glanced down at him with a small smirk. "Easy, buddy. Not every day has to be drama," he muttered. But Rex wasn't relaxed. Not today. Grant noticed the stiffness in his posture, the controlled tension of a dog listening to something no human could hear. He slowed his pace. "What do you smell?" he whispered under his breath. Rex didn't respond. He just scanned the crowd with razor-sharp focus. Grant brushed it off. Airports always had unpredictable scents, perfume, food, luggage full of who knows what. Rex gave false alarms once in a while, but he always reset quickly. Yet this time, he didn't. A security supervisor called out from behind the checkpoint. "Grant, need a sweep near Terminal C." Some baggage scanner flagged in unusual shape. Grant nodded. "On it." Rex trotted ahead, alert but silent. As they approached the terminal, Rex slowed down. His ears pricked forward, tail lowering, body angled defensively, as if the air itself had changed. Grant followed his gaze, scanning the sea of passengers. Nothing stood out. No suspicious luggage. No panicked faces. Just the normal, chaotic calm of an airport. Still, something was wrong. A toddler tugged on his mother's sleeve nearby, giggling. A teenager argued with his brother over a tablet. A businessman rushed with 2 phones in hand. Normal scenes. Normal people. But Rex wasn't watching any of them. His eyes were fixed on something farther ahead, something Grant couldn't see yet. The canine paused, sniffing the air with deeper, more urgent breaths. His fur bristled. "Rex?" Grant knelt beside him. "Talk to me." But Rex didn't break focus. He took one step forward, then another. Then he pulled sharply on his leash, forcing Grant to follow. Grant's stomach tightened. Rex wasn't acting like a dog checking a scent. He was acting like a dog who had just found a threat. And neither of them knew that within the next few minutes, Rex's instincts would turn the entire airport upside down, starting with a single stroller rolling straight into their path. Rex's sudden pull wasn't just forceful, it was urgent. Grant tightened his grip on the leash, trying to steady himself as the German shepherd dragged him toward the center of the terminal. Travelers stepped aside, startled by the dog's intensity. Rex wasn't barking, but his posture said everything. Something was wrong. "Easy, boy. Slow down," Grant muttered, though he knew Rex wasn't going to slow down until he found whatever had triggered him. They moved past a group of tourists snapping photos, past an elderly couple struggling with their luggage, past a security kiosk where an officer raised an eyebrow at the sight of Rex's determination. "Grant, what's happening?" the officer called. "Not sure," Grant replied. "But he's on something." Rex's nose swept the air in tight, precise movements. He paused, sniffed again, then jerked left. Grant followed, weaving through families and travelers until Rex abruptly stopped his nails, scraping the glossy floor as he planted himself firmly. Grant scanned the immediate area. A young family stood nearby. Father holding a passport, mother clutching a diaper bag, and beside them, a small rolling suitcase decorated with cartoon animals. Nothing unusual. The father noticed the K9 staring and forced a nervous smile. Is everything okay, officer? Grant studied them carefully. Routine check, he said, though he wasn't convinced. Mind standing still for a moment? The mother's eyes widened slightly, but she nodded. Rex stepped closer, nose twitching. He sniffed the suitcase first, nothing, then the diaper bag, still nothing. Grant watched closely, feeling the familiar tension of a potential false alert. Maybe the scent was drifting from somewhere else. Maybe. Suddenly Rex froze. His head snapped away from the family. His entire body stiffened, his ears forward, tail rigid. Grant followed his line of sight toward a crowd of passengers entering the terminal from the main entrance. A woman pushing a stroller was rushing inside, her face tense, her movements rushed and frantic, as if she were late for a flight or something worse. Grant didn't know her, had never seen her, but Rex reacted instantly. Not to the woman, not to the stroller, to what was inside it. Rex? Grant whispered, but the dog didn't hear him. He let out a deep, sharp bark once, loud enough to make several passengers jump, then another. Then he lunged forward, nearly tearing the leash from Grant's hand. Grant's heart began hammering. Rex had never reacted like this to a stroller. Not once in all his years of service. Grant, is this a threat? A nearby officer shouted. I don't know yet, Grant responded. Rex barked again, more aggressively this time. Passengers began backing up. Some gasped. A few pulled out phones to record. The woman pushing the stroller jolted at the sudden noise, her face twisting in confusion and fear. Rex growled low, intense, primal. And in that moment, Grant realized something chilling. Rex hadn't mistaken the scent. He was warning them. He was trying to stop something. Something that no one else had noticed. Yet, the woman pushing the stroller slowed as Rex's barking echoed through the terminal. Her eyes darted around in confusion, one hand gripping the stroller handle, the other protectively hovering near its canopy. She looked like any tired, stressed traveler, a mother rushing to make her flight. But Rex didn't see stress. He saw something else. Grant tightened the leash. Ma'am, please stop right there, he called out. She froze instantly. Her voice cracked as she shouted back, Why is he barking at me? What did I do? Rex answered with another sharp bark, lowering his body into a defensive stance. He wasn't attacking, he was blocking, positioning himself between the stroller and the rest of the terminal. Grant's pulse quickened. Ma'am, he repeated, stepping forward carefully. No one is accusing you of anything. We just need to take a look. The woman's breath hitched. My baby is sleeping. You're scaring him. Please make the dog stop. Grant glanced at Rex. The dog didn't blink, didn't soften, didn't shift an inch. His eyes were locked on the stroller canopy, the blanket inside, the tiny shape beneath it. Passengers whispered behind them. Why is the dog reacting like that? Is there something dangerous in the stroller? Oh my God. Is it a bomb? Grant raised a hand. Everyone step back, please. A wave of nervous shuffling rippled through the crowd as people moved away, clearing a wide space around them. Grant slowly approached. The woman backed up a step, gripping the stroller tighter. No, please, he's just a baby. He's just a baby. Rex snarled not at her, but at the stroller itself. Grant noticed something odd. The woman's panic didn't seem like guilt. It seemed like fear. True, gut-level fear. But fear of what? He eased closer. Ma'am, what's your child's name? She swallowed hard. Evan. He's 6 months old. Please don't touch him. He's sleeping. Grant nodded. But before he could speak again, Rex suddenly lunged forward. The leash snapped tight. Grant choked out a startled breath as Rex pulled with a strength that nearly ripped the handle from his grip. The German shepherd bared his teeth, not at the woman, but at the stroller, growling so fiercely that the wheels rattled. Rex! Grant shouted, but it was too late. The dog leapt. His paws landed squarely inside the stroller. The woman screamed. Officers sprinted from all directions. Passengers shrieked and scattered. And beneath Rex's weight, something shifted under the baby blanket. Something that made a faint, metallic clink. Something that wasn't a baby. The entire terminal seemed to freeze the moment Rex's paws hit the stroller. The woman's scream sliced through the air, sharp enough to make several passengers drop their suitcases. Officers sprinted toward the scene, hands hovering near their holsters, unsure whether they were facing an out-of-control canine or something far more dangerous. "Rex, off! Off!" Grant commanded, but Rex didn't budge. The German Shepherd positioned himself over the stroller like a shield, muscles trembling, teeth bared at the blanket beneath him. His growl vibrated through the metal frame. "Grant, what is he doing?" An officer shouted as he approached, wide-eyed. Grant didn't answer. He was staring at Rex's body language, hyper-focused, panicked, desperate. This wasn't aggression, it was alarm. Rex wasn't attacking. He was trying to prevent something. The woman lunged forward, tears streaming down her face. "My baby! Get that dog off my baby! Please!" Two officers held her back, trying to calm her. "Ma'am, stay behind the line. We need to assess the situation." "There is no situation," she sobbed. "He's sleeping." But Grant couldn't shake the icy weight settling in his stomach. Because under the blanket, something moved. Not a baby's gentle wiggle. A shift. A roll. A metallic clink. Rex lowered his head, sniffed deeply, then growled with a ferocity Grant had never heard before. Passengers stood frozen in shock, some filming, others praying out loud. The tension was suffocating. Grant crouched slowly, inching toward the stroller. "Rex, buddy, let me see." Rex didn't bark. He didn't lunge. Instead, he used his snout to shove the blanket aside fast and forcefully, sending it tumbling to the floor. The entire terminal gasped. There was a baby inside. A tiny boy, cheeks flushed, chest rising and falling steadily in sleep. But right beside him, pressed between the infant's body and the stroller, padding was a small cylindrical object the size of a soda can. Gray, smooth, with no label, and a faint blinking light. Grant's blood turned to ice. "Oh my God," one of the officers breathed. "Everyone back up," Grant barked. Chaos erupted instantly. Officers pushed bystanders away. TSA agents slammed security gates closed. People stumbling over themselves as they scrambled for distance. The woman collapsed to her knees, hands over her mouth, shaking violently. "That's not mine," she screamed. I don't know what that is." "Please believe me." Grant grabbed Rex by the harness and pulled him off the stroller, eyes locked onto the blinking cylinder. His training flooded back like muscle memory. Unidentified container, hidden near a child. No markings. Light indicating internal activity. This wasn't normal. This wasn't accidental. Before Grant could secure the stroller, the object shifted again, rolling slightly as the baby stirred in his sleep. Rex barked a deep, urgent bark that echoed across the terminal. "Grant!" an officer yelled. "Is it a bomb?" "I don't know," Grant shouted back, adrenaline pounding through him. "But whatever it is, someone planted it." The baby let out a soft whimper, and the blinking light turned from blue to red. Grant's breath caught. The terminal had just turned into a potential disaster zone, and they were standing at the epicenter. The moment the blinking light shifted from blue to red, Grant felt the air leave his lungs. A single second stretched into 10. The baby let out a tiny cry, unaware of the panic surrounding him. Officers froze, unsure whether to move forward or run. Then it happened. A faint click, a soft whir, and the small cylindrical device rolled out from the baby's side, slipping between the stroller's padding and dropping onto the polished airport floor. It bounced once, twice, then spun in a slow, eerie circle, the red light pulsing like a heartbeat. Passengers screamed and bolted in every direction, creating a wave of terrified chaos. Suitcases toppled, children cried, alarms blared overhead as someone triggered an emergency alert. Security officers formed a human barrier, pushing civilians back with urgent shouts. "Clear the area. Move back now." Grant grabbed the stroller and pulled it several feet away, placing himself between the device and the baby. His heart hammered so loudly he could barely hear anything else. Rex, however, wasn't confused. He wasn't panicked. He stepped in front of Grant, body lowered, eyes locked onto the device as if daring it to move again. "Don't go near it," an officer yelled, terrified Rex would trigger something. But Rex stayed perfectly still, ears pinned, tail stiff, breathing shallow and controlled. He was reading the device, analyzing it, waiting. Grant scanned the floor. The cylinder had no seams, no switches, no branding. Nothing to indicate a manufacturer, nothing recognizable. Just one pulsing red light, steady, rhythmic, ominous. A bomb tech sprinted into the terminal, panting. "Where is it?" "There," Grant pointed. Beside the stroller. The tech approached with slow, measured steps, gripping a heavy blast shield. His partner activated a handheld detector, sweeping it across the air from a safe distance. The detector beeped rapidly. Too rapidly. "Is it explosive?" an officer shouted. "Not sure," the tech snapped. "It's giving mixed readings." "Mixed?" Grant echoed. The tech crouched lower. "It's showing chemical presence, and electrical activity, and heat variation. That combination doesn't make sense." The mother sobbed into her hands. "Please, my baby, he didn't do anything. I didn't put anything there. I swear." Grant looked at her trembling shoulders, and he believed her. Her panic wasn't the panic of someone caught. It was the panic of someone in danger. Rex growled softly, stepping closer to the device. "Grab the dog," someone yelled. "No," Grant said firmly. "He knows something we don't. Let him be." The tech leaned closer just as the red light flickered erratically, speeding up. Beep, 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 beep. The tech stumbled back. "It's reacting to movement." Grant's blood turned cold. "Everybody freeze," he shouted. The entire terminal went silent. Even the crying baby quieted. The device pulsed once more, flashed, then stopped flashing completely. Every officer held their breath. If it wasn't a bomb, then what in the world had Rex just uncovered? The device lay motionless on the floor, its red light now completely dark. The sudden silence was almost worse than the frantic beeping. Officers stood frozen, their nerves stretched thin. No one dared breathe too loudly. "What does that mean?" one officer whispered. Grant didn't answer. He didn't know. But Rex did. The German shepherd stood rigid, every muscle tight, as if he were waiting for something the rest of them couldn't detect. The mother, still held behind the security barrier, sobbed uncontrollably. "Please, someone give me my baby." Her voice cracked with desperation. "I didn't put anything in that stroller, I swear. Please believe me." Grant exchanged a glance with another officer. The woman's terror was too raw, too unfiltered to be an act. But facts were facts. Something dangerous had been found inches from her infant. Rex growled softly again. Not at the woman, but at the stroller. Grant stepped closer, careful not to alarm the bomb techs. "Rex," he murmured. "What are you sensing?" The dog didn't take his eyes off the stroller's seat padding. He sniffed once, sharp, intense, and pulled back, ears pinned flat. Then he paced in a tight circle, whining under his breath. That sound made the hair on Grant's neck rise. Rex never whined unless the situation was worse than it appeared. The baby let out another soft cry, confused by the cold air and the tension surrounding him. That tiny sound shattered the stillness. Several officers flinched as if woken from a trance. "We need to secure the child," the bomb tech said. "There could be more inside the stroller." The mother screamed again. "No, don't touch him. He's just a baby." Grant stepped toward her, raising a calming hand. "Ma'am, listen to me. We're not taking him from you. We're protecting him. But you have to work with us." Her knees buckled, and she sank to the floor in tears. "I didn't do anything. I don't know what that thing is. I don't know how it got there. Please, please help him." Grant's chest tightened. He had seen guilty parents. She wasn't one of them. But Rex's behavior said there was more to uncover. Rex unexpectedly lunged toward the stroller again, not aggressively, but urgently planting his paw on the inside seam of the baby's cushion. He clawed once at a hidden corner. Grant froze. "There's something else in there," he whispered. Officers stiffened. The bomb tech raised his shield. Grant leaned over the stroller, fingers trembling as he pulled the seam back just a little. And that's when Rex snarled, louder than before, alerting everyone. Whatever they thought they had found was only the beginning. Within minutes, the bomb squad had transformed the terminal into a controlled danger zone. Yellow barriers snapped into place. Security officers redirected panicked travelers away from the scene, forming a wide perimeter around the stroller and the still silent device on the floor. Two bomb technicians in full protective gear approached, moving slowly, deliberately, each step measured, each breath calculated. Grant stayed inside the perimeter with Rex, refusing to leave the dog's side. The baby, now gently lifted from the stroller by a paramedic, whimpered but remained mostly calm. The mother's cries echoed faintly from behind the barricade, where two officers tried to reassure her. "All right," the lead bomb tech said, kneeling beside the cylinder. "Let's find out what we're dealing with." His partner scanned the device with a portable analyzer. The screen blinked, then stopped. The tech frowned. "That can't be right." Grant stepped closer. "What's wrong?" "It's showing chemical traces," the tech said, "but nothing explosive. And the electrical reading is inconsistent, like it's powering something internal but not detonating." "So it's not a bomb?" Grant asked, hope creeping into his voice. "Not necessarily." The tech's tone stayed tense. "But it's definitely not harmless." Rex suddenly gave a short, sharp bark that made every officer tense again. "What is it, boy?" Grant murmured. Rex ignored the device. Instead, he nudged the stroller seat cushion again, paw pressing insistently on the same hidden seam as before. His nose went straight to it. His tail stiffened. He whined low, urgent. The lead tech looked up. "Is he alerting on something else?" Grant nodded. "He thinks there's more." "All right, let me see." The tech approached the stroller carefully, lifting the cushion with a pair of tongs. "Everyone stay back." The moment he pulled the seam farther open, his breath caught. Well, I'll be damned. A thin metallic strip, no bigger than a finger, was lodged inside a hidden pouch sewn beneath the fabric. It had no markings, no wiring, no visible mechanism. Just a smooth silver surface and a faint warmth, as if it had been active moments earlier. "What is that?" an officer whispered. The bomb tech didn't answer. He scanned it with the analyzer, and the device beeped violently, flashing red. The mother screamed from behind the barricade. "Why is this happening? What is that thing? Someone tell me what's going on." The tech's eyes widened. "It's the same reading as the cylinder, same chemical signature, same energy pulse." Grant felt a chill run through him. "So whatever was in the stroller, there were multiple parts?" The tech swallowed hard. "Looks like it. Whatever this is, it was meant to be transported as a unit." Rex stepped between Grant and the stroller again, planting himself firmly, protective as ever. The tech grimaced. "This isn't explosive, it's something else. But I don't have the tools here to identify it." Grant's heartbeat thudded in his ears. If this wasn't a bomb, then what was being smuggled under a sleeping baby? And why had someone gone to such lengths to hide it? The bomb squad gathered around the stroller and the fallen cylinder, their gear reflecting the bright overhead lights. The terminal remained eerily silent except for distant crying children and the crackling airport intercom urging passengers to remain calm. Rex paced tightly, nose low, as if the entire area smelled wrong. Grant watched him carefully. Every warning sign the dog gave mattered. Every movement had meaning. "All right," the lead tech said, lifting the thin metallic strip with extreme caution. "We're running a full spectrum scan." He slid the strip and the cylinder into a portable analysis chamber, a sleek armored box with a narrow digital screen. As the door clicked shut, a soft hum filled the air. The screen flickered. Static. Lines of unreadable data. Then a chemical chart began forming. The tech squinted, leaning in. His partner mirrored his expression, then blinked twice, confused. "That's impossible," he muttered. Grant stepped forward. "What did you find?" The tech didn't answer at first. He turned the scanner toward his partner. "Run it again. I want to be sure." The second tech reset the system. Same hum, same flicker, more data, more readings, more impossibility. The tech exhaled slowly. "It's biological." Grant's chest tightened. "Biological, like organic matter?" "Yes," the tech said, "but not hazardous, not infectious. It's engineered." Grant frowned. "Engineered for what?" The tech hesitated. His face paled. "Transport." "Transport of what?" Grant pressed. The tech enlarged the data, pointing to the peaks on the chemical graph. "These signatures don't match anything we've seen. It's not a bomb. It's not poison. It's not radioactive. It's a containment capsule designed to keep something alive. A hush fell over the group. Alive? An officer echoed. The mother's sobbing grew louder from behind the barricade. Please, please, someone tell me what's happening. I didn't put anything near my baby. I didn't. Rex barked once, sharp and urgent, directed at the analysis box. The tech's hands trembled. Whatever was stored inside, it's no longer in the container. Grant's head spun. Meaning it was removed? No, the tech whispered. Meaning it escaped or was taken out before the stroller reached us. Every officer exchanged horrified glances. Grant scanned the area with newfound dread. Passengers, luggage, children, crowds. Something alive? Small enough to hide? Small enough to fit beside a baby? Rex growled, circling the stroller again, nose drifting along the edges. He stopped at the very bottom seam, the deepest hidden fold. He barked again. Is there more? Grant asked under his breath. The tech knelt down, pulling back the bottom padding. As he lifted the final layer, he froze. His voice cracked. Oh God, there's residue, fresh residue. Whatever was here left recently. Grant's pulse skyrocketed. Something had been inside the stroller. Something biological. Something engineered. Something now missing. The terminal wasn't facing a bomb threat. It was facing something unknown, and it could be anywhere. The moment the bomb tech confirmed fresh biological residue inside the stroller, every officer's attention shifted slowly, almost reluctantly toward the mother. She sat on the floor behind the barricade, arms wrapped around herself, rocking slightly as if trying to keep her world from collapsing. Her eyes were red and swollen. Mascara streaked down her cheeks. She looked nothing like a criminal. She looked like a terrified woman watching her life spiral out of control. Grant stepped toward her while Rex remained behind, still sniffing the stroller as though searching for a trail only he could detect. Two officers approached the woman carefully. Ma'am, one said gently, we need you to come with us to a private screening room. Her head snapped up. No, please, I didn't do anything. You're treating me like a criminal. I swear I don't know what that thing is. Grant spoke softly, lowering his voice so only she could hear. We're not accusing you. We're trying to protect your child and everyone else here. At the mention of her child, the woman broke. She covered her face and sobbed openly. I would never hurt him. Never. I didn't even leave the stroller. I just walked in from the parking garage. That's all. Grant paused. Did anyone come near you? Anyone touch the stroller? Even for a moment? She hesitated, thinking. Her eyes darted as she mentally retraced her steps. No, I don't think so. I parked, got the stroller out, put Evan inside, locked the car and walked straight in. Her voice trembled. That's all. Grant exchanged a look with another officer. Her story didn't sound rehearsed. It sounded real. But facts weren't aligning. Something had been hidden under her sleeping baby. Something biological. Something engineered. Something missing. Rex suddenly barked again toward the mother this time. The officers stiffened. The woman jolted back in fear. Why is he doing that? What is he sensing? Grant's jaw tightened. Rex doesn't think you're dangerous, he reassured her. He's following a scent. Something on the stroller. Or on you. The mother stared at him, horrified. But I'm clean. I didn't carry anything. I didn't touch anything. An officer stepped closer. We still need to question you privately. Please stand. Her legs wobbled as she rose, needing the officer's arm for support. She clutched her chest, shaking violently. Please, someone tell me what's happening. What was in that stroller? What was next to my baby? Grant didn't know how to answer. Because the truth was terrifying. Whatever had been in that stroller wasn't there anymore. And someone, maybe even the mother, without realizing it, had been used to transport it. The private screening room felt colder than the terminal, its sterile white walls amplifying every breath, every heartbeat, every scrape of a chair on the tile floor. The terrified mother sat trembling in a metal seat, clutching a thin blanket an officer had given her. Her eyes remained fixed on the window separating her from the hallway, where paramedics examined her baby. Grant stood with Rex just outside the room, watching as a paramedic gently lifted the infant, checking his arms, legs, breathing, heartbeat. The baby cooed softly, blissfully unaware of the storm raging around him. But Rex wasn't at ease. The German Shepherd had been pacing non-stop, nose locked onto the air around the infant. His tail was stiff, ears pinned, posture loaded like a spring ready to snap. Every few seconds, he growled a low, uneasy vibration, not of aggression, but of deep warning. Grant knelt beside him. "What is it, buddy? What are you picking up?" Rex ignored him. The dog's focus was laser-sharp, fixed on the baby. The paramedic paused mid-assessment, exchanging a nervous glance with Grant. "Is he alerting again?" Grant nodded grimly. "Yes, and he's not wrong." The mother, watching from inside the room, pressed her hands to the glass. "Why is he barking at my baby?" she cried. "Please, someone tell me what's wrong with him." Grant stepped into view and raised a hand gently. "Ma'am, listen, we aren't accusing your child of anything. Rex is sensing something. A trace, a smell, a residue. Something near your baby that shouldn't be there." She shook her head violently. No, my baby is healthy. Nothing is wrong with him. Nothing." But Rex's behavior told a different story. He suddenly lunged forward, sniffing the baby's blanket intensely. His nose traced the edges before pressing against the infant's onesie, right over the tiny chest. He whined a sound Grant had only ever heard when Rex found something dangerous but wasn't allowed to act. "Pull him back," an officer ordered. "No," Grant said firmly, raising a hand. "He's giving us critical information. Let him work." The paramedic gently laid the baby on a portable examination table. As the infant squirmed, the blanket slipped off his body, and Rex immediately pressed his snout to the small folds of fabric near the baby's ribs. And then he barked. A single, explosive bark that shook every officer in the hallway. The mother screamed in terror. "What is it?" "What is he doing?" Grant's heart pounded. He bent close, inspecting the spot Rex indicated. Beneath the baby's clothing, just barely visible when the child twisted, something caught his eye. A faint shimmer. Not skin. Not fabric. Something stuck to the infant. "Get the UV scanner," Grant ordered. A tech rushed over with a portable UV light. He clicked it on and shined it across the baby's chest. The room went silent. Thin streaks glowing bright under the UV ran across the baby's skin like microscopic trails. Patterns, lines, residue. The tech swallowed hard. "This matches the biological signature from the container." Grant's face went pale. Whatever had been engineered, whatever had been transported, had touched the baby. And Rex knew it. The UV light's eerie glow still coated the baby's skin when the bomb tech stepped back, trembling slightly. "This residue, it didn't just brush against him," he whispered. "It was pressed onto him, transferred with intention." Grant's stomach twisted. The mother collapsed into her chair inside the observation room, sobbing uncontrollably. "Please, someone tell me what they put on my baby. What did they do to him?" But no one had an answer. Rex wasn't finished, though. His nose dropped back toward the stroller, sniffing the frame, the wheels, the joints. Then suddenly he froze. A soft growl rolled out of his throat. Grant straightened. He found something. The bomb tech hurried over. "Where is he alerting?" Rex shoved his snout against the lower chassis of the stroller, pawing hard at a tiny screw near the underside. It looked ordinary, like part of the frame, but Rex's reaction made it clear. It wasn't. The tech crouched and ran his gloved fingers along the screw. It didn't turn. It didn't loosen. It didn't behave like a screw at all. "What the?" He retrieved a magnetic key tool and tapped it gently. The screw clicked, and a nearly invisible panel beneath the stroller snapped open. Grant felt the blood drain from his face. Inside was a hidden compartment so thin, so expertly concealed, even a trained officer would have missed it. Nestled within was another metallic strip, almost identical to the first, except this one was cracked down the middle, as if something had forced its way out. The tech lifted it carefully using tongs. This is fresh." The break happened within minutes. Rex whined, pacing in a tight circle, nose hovering inches from the compartment. Grant whispered, "So something was in there, something alive." The tech nodded grimly. "And it's not in there anymore." The paramedic holding the baby stepped back in shock. "Wait, you're saying something climbed out? When? Where?" Grant's mind raced. The mother had parked in the garage, walked into the terminal. The stroller was in motion the entire time. Whatever escaped could have slipped out at any point. "Seal every exit," Grant ordered. Lock down all terminals. If something is loose in this airport, we need to find it. Officers sprang into action, shouting into radios. Rex barked sharply toward the hallway, then again, louder, tugging at his leash. He had picked up a trail. Grant's breath caught. The creature, whatever it was, had left the stroller, and Rex knew exactly where it went. The hallway outside the screening room buzzed with frantic radio chatter, but all the noise faded as Grant stepped inside to face the mother. She looked up at him with swollen, tear-stained eyes, her hands trembling violently in her lap. She wasn't just scared, she was broken. "Please," she whispered, voice barely audible. "Tell me what's happening. What did you find in my baby's stroller?" Grant sat across from her, keeping his tone steady. "We found hidden compartments. Something biological was stored in them, and whatever it was, it's missing." The mother's breath hitched, and she clutched her stomach as if stabbed. "Missing? What do you mean missing? You're saying something was in there with him?" Her voice cracked into a scream. "My God, was it dangerous? Did it touch him?" Grant swallowed. He didn't want to confirm it, but the UV evidence had shown enough. The baby had been exposed. "We're still analyzing," he said gently. "But we need to understand how your stroller was used to transport it." She shook her head again and again, violently, panic spiraling into hysteria. "I didn't transport anything. I swear on my son's life I didn't do anything." Grant leaned forward. "Then someone else used you, and we need to know who." Her eyes darted wildly as she tried to piece together her morning. "I told you I parked the car, put Evan in the stroller, walked straight here." She tugged at her hair, frantic. "I didn't stop anywhere. I didn't talk to anyone." Rex barked sharply from outside the door, as if urging her to think harder. The mother flinched. "Why does that dog keep barking? What does he know that I don't?" Grant exhaled slowly. "Rex only alerts when he's certain. He's following a scent, something that was on the stroller, the baby, and possibly you." Her face drained of color. "Me? Maybe you brushed against someone," Grant said. "Someone who planted it. Think, did anyone come near you at all, even for a moment?" She squeezed her eyes shut, forcing herself to go back through every second. Garage, elevator, entrance, security lane. Her eyes flew open. "The elevator," she breathed. Grant leaned in. "What happened there?" It was crowded," she whispered. "A man came in behind me. He stood very close. Too close. I tried to move the stroller forward, but the doors closed." Her voice shook. He leaned over for a second. "I thought he was just looking at Evan, because people do that, but..." Her hands clenched into fists. "Oh my God." He touched the stroller. Grant's pulse spiked. "Did you see his face?" "No," she cried. He kept his hood up. Sunglasses. Beard. "I didn't think anything of it." Grant stood abruptly. "That's enough to go on." Rex barked again louder. Urgent. Officers outside were shouting into radios. "Suspect description. Elevator footage. Lock down every exit." Grant stared at the mother. "You weren't the criminal," he said quietly. "You were the carrier." Her face crumpled. She sobbed into her hands. "He used me. He used my baby." Grant's jaw tightened. Whoever that man was, he planted something alive in that stroller, and now it was loose in the airport. Rex growled at the hallway. He had found the trail, and the chase was about to begin. Rex pulled hard on his leash, dragging Grant down the hallway with fierce determination. The bomb techs followed close behind, carrying the scanning equipment. Officers parted as the K9 charged forward, his nose glued to the floor tiles, tracking an invisible trail with absolute certainty. Grant's heart pounded. Whatever was in that stroller, Rex is on it. They reached a quiet service corridor, a place passengers rarely noticed. The scent trail grew stronger. Rex barked sharply, scratching at the seams where the wall met the floor, nose trembling with intensity. "Scan here," Grant ordered. A tech swept the UV light across the tiles. Everyone stiffened. Glowing streaks, thin, scattered, ran along the floor like footprints from something microscopic. They weren't human-shaped. They weren't animal-shaped. They were irregular, chaotic, as if something tiny had fled in a panic. "Oh, this is bad," the tech whispered. Grant crouched beside the trail. "So it didn't just escape. It ran." "What ran?" an officer asked. The tech swallowed hard. The biological signatures from the cylinder and strip match high-level engineered organisms. Think prototypes, lab creations, something meant to survive transport conditions. Grant's jaw tightened. So the baby was carrying what? A lab specimen? A valuable one, the tech said. This wasn't random. Someone planted it inside that stroller to smuggle it past airport security. Grant felt anger rise in his chest. Using an innocent child as a shield, that was beyond monstrous. The tech continued, voice trembling slightly. If we're correct, the container wasn't storing a chemical agent. It was storing a living organism, something small enough to hide, durable enough to survive, and controlled enough to stay dormant until released. Grant's eyebrows shot up. Released? The tech nodded. These containers are usually used for gene samples, mutated insects, bioengineered microanimals, things you'd find in black market labs. They're worth millions on the underground biotech market. Millions. Grant felt his stomach twist. Someone had taken that risk using a stroller, a mother, and a sleeping baby to move something illegal through the airport. Something alive. And now it was loose. Rex barked again, deeper this time, as he followed the glowing trail farther into the service corridor. The tech sprinted after him with the scanner. The UV light revealed a final set of glowing streaks, leading to a metal vent along the wall. The vent cover was slightly ajar. Grant's pulse spiked. It crawled inside. The tech checked the scanner. The readings are strong. Whatever it is, it's in the ventilation system now. Grant exhaled sharply. A stolen organism, worth millions. Engineered. Alive. And now moving freely through the vents of the airport. Rex growled into the darkness. The chase was no longer contained to a terminal. The entire airport was now the hunting ground. Grant barely had time to process the organism, slipping into the vents when the airport's emergency lights suddenly flickered. A burst of static cracked through every radio at once. Security to all units, multiple armed individuals spotted near Terminal D. Repeat, armed individuals approaching Terminal D. Grant's head snapped up. They're here, he whispered. Rex growled, sensing the shift before anyone else. His ears shot forward, body tense, ready. A second transmission followed, shaky, panicked. They're asking about a woman with a stroller. They know about the container. The mother, the baby. Grant's blood ran cold. These weren't random criminals. They were coming to reclaim whatever creature they had smuggled and silence anyone who had seen too much. Move! Grant barked, sprinting down the corridor with Rex at his side. Officers flooded the terminal, forming barricades as passengers screamed and ducked behind benches and kiosks. The polished floors shook as people ran for safety. Alarm sirens wailed overhead. Near Terminal D's entrance, 3 men in dark hooded jackets pushed through the fleeing crowd. Their strides were calm, too calm, predatory. Each carried a sleek black case slung over their shoulder. Grant recognized the description instantly. The man from the elevator. Hands where I can see them! An officer shouted. The first man didn't comply. Instead, he smirked. And then everything erupted. He reached into his jacket. Officers drew their weapons. Rex lunged forward with a ferocious bark that echoed through the entire terminal. And the criminals scattered, moving with terrifying precision. One vaulted over a row of seats. Another shoved a passenger aside and sprinted toward a maintenance hatch. The third bolted straight toward the direction of the mother's screening room. Grant cursed under his breath. They're splitting up. Rex tore after the man running toward the screening room, dragging Grant behind him. Shouts filled the air. Officers slammed into position, chasing the other suspects. Travelers sobbed and pressed themselves against walls. Grant shouted into his radio, "Protect the mother and child. Now." But Rex was already ahead of him. The hooded man sprinted for the hallway, his hand reaching inside his coat. Rex launched. He collided with the man mid-stride, knocking him into a metal railing. The man hit the ground hard, the black case skidding across the floor. Grant tackled him a second later, wrenching his arm behind his back. "Who sent you? What was in the stroller?" The man spit blood and laughed dark, cold, unhinged. "You have no idea what you just let loose." Grant froze. Rex growled. The man leaned close, voice a whisper dripping with menace. "And if you don't find it soon, everyone in this airport will learn what it was made to do." Grant's breath hitched as the criminal's words echoed through his mind. Everyone in this airport will learn what it was made to do. Rex snarled, sensing the danger still looming in the air. Before Grant could press further, a burst of static broke through his radio. Unit 7. Come in. The organism, whatever it is, was detected near the central ventilation hub. It's moving fast. Grant tightened his grip on the suspect. Rex? Let's go. Two officers grabbed the hooded man, while Grant and Rex sprinted toward the ventilation hub, adrenaline pounding through every step. They arrived to chaos. Technicians huddled around a large metal panel, alarms blaring overhead. Inside the vent system, something small darted between shadows too fast to identify, but leaving behind glowing streaks visible under UV. There! A tech shouted. It's heading toward the exhaust gate. Grant's eyes widened. If it gets outside, it'll disappear, the tech finished grimly. And someone will pick it up, Rex barked sharply, launching himself toward the vent opening. His nose traced the path with flawless precision. Grant followed him down a maintenance corridor, heart thundering. The creature's trail led to the large exterior exhaust panel half unscrewed, freshly tampered with. Someone had planned this. Someone had been waiting. Grant aimed his flashlight through the opening. A tiny creature no larger than a mouse, but glimmering faintly with iridescent scales, skittered toward the edge. Its movements were eerie, unnatural, almost mechanical. One more second, and it would slip into the open air. Rex! Grant yelled. The German shepherd dove. His teeth clamped onto the edge of the creature's tail-like extension, not enough to harm it, but enough to stop its escape. The organism thrashed violently, releasing a faint electrical pulse that made the vent crackle. Grant grabbed Rex's harness, pulling both dog and organism back to safety. He slammed the vent shut just as officers arrived. Containment unit, a tech shouted. They sealed the creature in a transparent capsule designed for hazardous biological samples. The organism shimmered inside, curling into a dormant state. Grant exhaled the longest breath of his life. We got it. Rex wagged his tail, exhausted but proud. Moments later, the mother appeared at the corridor's entrance, escorted by officers. She clutched her baby tightly, tears streaming down her cheeks. Is it over? She whispered. Grant nodded softly. It's over. You and your baby are safe. She broke down, sobbing into her child's hair. Thank you. Thank you. Her gaze drifted to Rex. The German shepherd trotted over, tail low, gentle. The mother placed a shaking hand on his head. You saved my son, she whispered. You saved all of us. Rex leaned into her touch. Hours later, as the airport reopened and officers loaded the sealed organism into a secure transport vehicle, the lead scientist approached Grant. You have no idea what your dog prevented today, he said quietly. This thing could have started a chain reaction. He didn't just save passengers. He may have saved an entire city. Grant looked down at Rex, his partner, his hero. Yeah, he said, scratching the dog's neck. He always knows. The mother handed Grant a small note before leaving. Tell the dog, he's my angel. Rex barked once, proudly, and the airport finally fell silent again.